We've all heard it 1,000 times. Defense wins championships. Well, I gotta tell you, I don't think that's true anymore. If you look at recent Super Bowls, if you look at the NFL today, it is offense that wins championships. To be exact, it is explosive offense mixed with an opportunistic defense that wins championships in today's NFL. Yo, everybody, dude, King Ding back here. So today we have come with the hell is that? It's a big ass dog. Dallas still stinks. Yo, everybody doing? King Ding back here. I hope everybody's having a great day. Hope you guys are doing well. Let me first start off by saying congratulations to Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs on winning the Super Bowl. You guys deserve it. Now, when I say that, Nitro Freak, I'm not saying that I'm vicariously living through Andy Reid or I'm celebrating all his accomplishments. Nitro Freak thinks me and my wife are sitting there drinking champagne all night, getting drunk, drinking a lot, celebrating Andy Reid. Oh, baby, look, Andy Reid's on TV. You know what that means? This body was made to give you pleasure. Let's go. Fat man won Super Bowl. No, it don't mean any of that. It just means congratulations, Andy Reid. You deserve it. That's it. I don't know why people get so worked up because Eagle fans wish the guy well. Say, hey, congratulations, we're happy for you. That's it. It's Eagles all day, baby. Eagles all day. But I can say congratulations to people. I was happy when Dick Vermeil won Super Bowl. You know, hey, it is what it is. But congratulations, Andy Reid. You deserve it. Now, before I start this video, start giving you my thoughts of what I took out of this Super Bowl last night, I want to know what my man LB's up to. Hey, yo, LB, what's up with you? What's up with you, man? Who do you got? Who are you nominating for our draft board? Who are you nominating, LB? Who is it?
Yo, Philly, what up, man? So the next guy we're going to nominate to the draft board, I feel really good about this guy. Trayvon Diggs from Alabama. He got the size, he got the speed, he got the coverage skills. He just has a knack for being around the ball. One knock on this guy is that, he wasn't that good of a tackler, but I think tackling is more of an effort thing. I think you could push somebody to be a better tackler, especially if you're letting them know right now, hey, this is something you need to work on. I think with the right coach, especially with Marquand Manuel, I think that we can mold this guy into being a prolific perimeter defender. The Philadelphia Eagles didn't have much problem tackling with their cornerbacks. They had a lot of problems with covering. So I think this guy, Trayvon Diggs from Alabama, is a good guy to look at, man. Let me know what you think.
So Trayvon Diggs it is for my man LB. And if you haven't, and I don't know where you've been, I don't know, NASA took you or something, I don't know. But if you haven't subbed up to Lord Bronson, what you waiting for? You gotta do it. Go to the link in the description, click on his channel, and sub him up. The guy's a great guy. You gotta sub him up. He's my man. And, I'm having such a blast doing this draft board with him. I am. It's a lot of fun, and I can't wait till we fill the list out and we get together and we discuss it, talk about where we agree, where we disagree. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm enjoying doing it with him. It's a blast. It's a blast. So make sure you guys sub him up. He's excited about this offseason. I'm excited about this offseason. We're all excited about this offseason because after watching the Super Bowl last night, after watching it, I came to the conclusion that my hypothesis and my theory were right for the last 2 years. Offense wins championships. It does. That's just the way the NFL is going. I know it's hard to believe. I know. I get it. But if you really think about it, 3 out of the last 4 Super Bowl champions won because of their offense. You remember New England. They were down big. Come back. They beat the Falcons. That was offense that did it. Then you look at the Eagles, and when they beat the New England Patriots, it was all offense. I mean, both teams were going back and forth. It was offense that won. Then you have the outliner, the exception to the rule, the Rams-Patriot game, which stunk. That was maybe one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever watched. But, yeah, that was more of a defensive struggle. And then yesterday, 21 unanswered points, in the fourth quarter with less than 10 minutes? That was offense. That was offense, and that was a great defense the 49ers had, right? They talked about their defense, how it could be a historical type defense all year long, how great it was. Well, guess what? When the good, great defense met the great offense won. And it was the speed. That Tyreek Hill catch that set up the first touchdown in that 21 unanswered points, that catch really ignited and set up the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's what the Eagles have been missing. That's what the Eagles are missing. And that's what you need in today's NFL. I think that the days of winning a Super Bowl with a dominant defense are over. Now, it can happen. There's going to be exceptions to the rules. But for the majority, and you're seeing it now the way Super Bowls are playing out, you need a good offense. You need a good offense and an opportunistic defense. So you may not have the greatest defense in the world, but you have guys that make plays, get turnovers in big moments. Think of Brandon Graham in the Super Bowl against Tom Brady. We allowed 500 yards passing, like 512 yards, something like that, right? Brady threw all over the place on us. But that one opportunistic play really put us in a situation to win that game. We kicked the field goal, we went up, and that was it. That was it, okay? So you need an opportunistic defense, and you need an offense that is explosive, that is fast. Speed kills, and the Eagles need a lot of it. So I'm even more convinced now that you got to go offense in this draft. And I would lean heavy on defense and free agency and heavy offense in the draft. And, obviously you're going to sprinkle in some offense and free agency and some defense in the draft. But, I think that's the way you got to go. This is how the league is set up. And it's not just because you have these great offensive players and defensive players can't play. It's nothing like that. It's just the way that the rules are set up. When you look at all the rules and how the rules favor the offense, right? You look at that, then you look at how offenses use their wide receivers, spread people out, all the things and all the concepts they're doing. You mix that with all the way the rules are basically built for an offense. It's almost impossible to have a dominating defense like the Eagles, where they were number one in the pass, number one in the rush, number one in total defense, where they wouldn't give up, I don't know how many games it went, but they went a lot of games without a 100-yard rusher. You couldn't throw on them. You couldn't score. It's not like that in today's NFL, especially when you got guys that are fast and can get downfield. So that's just the way the NFL's going. Offense wins championships. Offense with a opportunistic defense is how you win in this league. That's just the way it is. Now, there are a lot of ways you could go about rebuilding your offense. You could do it through the draft, through free agency, through trades, through all the above. And when I talk about free agency specifically, I've talked a lot about spending your resources on defense, because I think you need to sign guys that you could plug and play right away. That defense needs players that can play next year, week 1 next year, okay? So I would spend most of my resources in free agency on defense. That doesn't mean I'm not going to spend any money on offense. I am going to spend some money. I've talked a lot about getting another wide receiver in free agency. The big name that comes up all the time, Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson would be an excellent addition to the Eagles. He's fast. I would be all for it, okay? I would be all for it. The thing about Robbie Anderson, he's going to be a lot of money. He's going to cost you a lot of money. You're probably going to have to overpay for him. And if you're the Eagles and you want to use some of that cap money, if you want to use it towards defensive players, one other option that I think is a sleeper option, I think is a totally sneaky option, and I really might do this, is I would take a shot at Breshad Perriman. Breshad Perriman exploded the last month of the season. And to the point where I think it's quite possible he figured things out, and that he is on the upswing of his career, that he figured out whatever he needed to figure out as a receiver. The game has slowed down for him, and he is ready to explode on the scene. I think back, and for you non-hockey fans out there, you might not know this, but there was a player, an ex-Flyer, his name was John LeClaire, and he was with the Montreal Canadiens, and he was very talented. He never really lived up to the billing while he was with Montreal. He gets traded to the Flyers, and he gets traded at the right time, right when he's about to explode. on the scene, explode on the ice, and all of a sudden he comes to the Flyers, becomes a prolific goal scorer. I mean, from like day one he was traded, he just started scoring goals, 50 goals a year. He was amazing. He was a great goal scorer, and this reminds me, Breshad Perriman kind of reminds me of him, because I think it's quite possible he's on the verge of exploding on the scene. Like, he is going to be a great player. And I said yesterday that we had a guy in our building that we let go, that he was right there for the taking cheap, and that was Breshad Perriman. We didn't sign Breshad Perriman. He wasn't on the roster. But in September 2018, the Eagles brought him in for a workout. They decided to not go with him and not sign him. I think it's a big mistake. He signed that spring with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, goes there, okay, and they already have an explosive offense. And for those that don't know, Rashad Perryman is 6'2", 215 pounds, okay? He finished the season with 36 catches for 645 yards and 6 touchdowns. He averaged 17.9 yards per catch. Here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing with Breshad Perriman. Okay, halfway through the year, he had 7 catches for 58 yards. Only 7 catches. Okay, his last 5 games, he had 25 catches, 506 yards, and 5 touchdowns. I think he had, in that 5-game span, he had, I think, 16 catches over 20 yards. Okay, he exploded on the scene towards the end of the year. He just figured out, and he's fast. I think he ran like a 4.2 something at his pro day, and he was a first-round pick by Baltimore. Never lived up to the billing. Was floating around, and for whatever reason, it started to click at the end of the year for him. It started to click, and if I'm the Eagles, I'm serious. If you think that what you saw the last 6 games is what he's about to become, I think you have to go get him, because it would be a steal. Yes, maybe you skip a Robbie Anderson and you give this guy a shot, because I'm telling you, going back and watching this guy, I think he could be the real deal. I think if he goes to the right team, he's just a guy, 26 years old, who's ready to explode, who the game slowed down for, he figured it out, and for whatever reason, he's about to go off. And if the Eagles get him and they can get him cheap, he would be great. I mean, the guy's got good size, he's fast, and I think, he would be a lot cheaper than Robbie Anderson. I don't think the Bucs are going to be able to bring him back. And the Eagles had him in the door. They had him in, they were working him out. They chose not to sign him. They should have signed him. But, look, the Eagles have had problems with identifying good wide receivers, which is why I want to go first round a wide receiver, a stud wide receiver, somebody that the Eagles can't mess up on. But if you don't want to pay Robbie Anderson, let's say, the money, and you want to pay a guy, pay him something, but not a ton, Rashad Perryman could be the guy. He could be the sleeper, because sometimes things just take a while for players to figure it out. Remember Plaxico Burress, his first 3 years in Pittsburgh? He stunk. He was horrible, but he figured it out. Sometimes it takes longer for some guys. If this guy is on the verge of becoming a stud wide receiver, or at least a prolific starter, let's say, right? Maybe borderline Pro Bowl, or just a decent start in the league, you got to take a shot. You could get him cheap. I think this could be a steal for the Eagles. I would strongly consider it. And then you have more resources to spend on defense. Get an extra linebacker. Get a safety. Get somebody, you know what I mean? But I think Breshad Perriman is a very sneaky pick. I am fascinated by what he did at the end of the last year. I am fascinated to the point that I might be willing, for the right price, it's got to be cheap. It can't be a lot of money. But I'm willing to give him a shot at starting wide receiver opposite of Deshaun Jackson. And I think that you could be running into a situation, and I think back to, like I said, the Flyers and John LeClair back in the day, where you're getting a guy whose best years are his best years are in front of him, and he's about to explode in a big way. I mean, those numbers at the end of the year, the last 5 games, were pretty much better than anybody in the league. Okay? This guy, and this was when Mike Evans went down too. So I think the Eagles should take a hard look at him, get him, maybe sign him cheap, add the extra free agents, in free agency, add the extra defensive players, and then in the draft, you first round, take another wide receiver. Boom! You're all of a sudden, you're explosive. You're very explosive, and that's what the Eagles need to be, because let's face it, in the NFL, the saying should be offense wins championships. So let me know what you think. Breshad Perriman, a little bit of a risk of a signing, but I think it's a very, very high reward, that it's worth the shot, and he shouldn't be a lot of money. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. With that said, take care. Talk to you later. And don't be a dingbat.